This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, where we spread awareness for men's mental health and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. New episodes drop weekly. Thank you for this opportunity to sit down with Brother Wes and just to be able to share his story, Lord, and to raise awareness for mental health, but also to talk about fatherhood today, Lord. And I just pray you'll be with me through this episode, guide me and lead me, be with Wes, and bless his family. And just thank you for this opportunity and this platform. It's in your most holy name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Welcome back to the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Steve. And today is a special episode for Father's Day. I'm sitting down with a gentleman that I've been following for a long time, probably over 10 years. And we talked a little bit off camera. Before I introduce him, I'm going to share a story. I was actually in an ad campaign for Rogue American Apparel over 10 years ago with my daughter, Josie, and she's 16 now. And I was wearing a t-shirt, and the t-shirt said, "Stand for something." So today I'm sitting down with the CEO of Rogue American Apparel, Wes Whitlock, and it's come full circle for me, going from being a customer over 10 years ago to now getting to sit down face to face and to share his story. So Wes, man, thank you so much for joining the show today, brother. I appreciate it.
Right on, man. I appreciate it and appreciate you and what you're doing and what your message is about. And wonderful introduction there. I think we need to do more of that in life. It's really simple things, and it starts with the prayer and belief each morning and each day. So, yeah, man, I appreciate it. And on that, yeah, I always remember that's one of my favorite pictures. I've probably hundreds and thousands over the years. That's one that always stands out because it represents what the brands were all about. And here you have a strong father figure with his daughter, and rocking what my brands and shirts and all that stuff were about. It was never about something that you just put on, whatever. It had meaning behind it, and to stand for something was something that we'd hear over and over, going to events and talking to people. We love what you guys stand for. We love what you guys stand for. And that always meant a lot to me because that's what I wanted this brand to be about. People that supported it and wore it and put it on and felt that sense of purpose, responsibility, and some history in there, and being a provider, protector, and doing all. So that picture kind of it captures a lot of what this brand was about. So was one of my favorites. And I didn't even know that. I didn't know because that was so long ago. I didn't know that was you. And then when you sent me that, I was like, oh, dude, that was you, man. That was like 10 years ago. So yeah, man, it's like I said, full circle. I think life's cool because you connect and reconnect with really cool people and the right people. It could be years and years later, but eventually, if it's meant to be, then it works out that way. So here we are, man.
Yeah, it's wild. And I had a lot more hair in that photo, so it's probably why you couldn't tell it was me. Now I always got a hat on because I don't have any hair anymore. But yeah,
Hey, still jacked,
and it's
bro.
crazy
Still
too, man.
jacked, bro. That's all
Thanks,
that
man. I'm
matters,
not
man.
like you, dude. I'm trying.
Shoot. I see what you're
You
doing
know
over
what?
there.
You, you know what's funny about that picture? That was the first time I ever experienced hatred on social media. Dude, I got so many nasty comments on that photo. And it
And
was like, it's me and
like
my kid. And
how?
people were
Like
lighting,
how?
they're like they were lighting up the jeans I had on. They said I had rubber bands on my sleeves because the sleeves were it's
Because
like, dude,
you're freaking
come on,
jacked, dude.
man.
Well, that's what's funny. People will always
People
it
are
could be
crazy, man.
people are crazy. And I got one that'll top that one. So Sean Ryan, he's my first website. He's on it and he's wearing white Oakleys. This was when he was still downrange. And a lot of dudes downrange were wearing my
Hmm.
stuff up in the mountains and stuff. And he's wearing white Oakleys. And everybody's hating on. I'm like, you don't know who this dude is, man. It's just people always have to find something, with dudes that are doing like cool shit, and they gotta find. There was another one. It was another dude. Um, can't remember, but it was a great picture too. Kind of a similar situation, and kind of same thing. People were like bashing on him on something like, why? Like it's just funny, man. But it is what it is, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you're doing what you need to do and doing the right things. It's all good, man. And those are the same people that would never say it to your actual face, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, and it's just fun. The
No, they
internet
wouldn't.
could be interesting.
Yeah.
That was a badass picture, man. It had a lot of positive ones too, though. You gotta remember that. With anything big,
Yeah, it did, it did. No, it did. It
you're gonna
did.
have, like, a shitload of really cool stuff and then, a handful of the goobers, but that's why they're there at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Yep, yep. Um, yeah, it's funny you mentioned Sean Ryan. I saw that photo on your Facebook page, and I thought that was him, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was gonna ask you about that today, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, "Man, that's an old picture. It's from a long time ago."
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was just cool, like, in the beginning when I was kinda starting, back in 2011, and at that time, there wasn't really I didn't see a lot of that kinda thing out there, and I wanted to have something that dudes were related to that were coming back, and because those brands started they started in Afghanistan in reality, um, and, you know, a lot of people resonated with the history to a lot of the designs and stuff like that, and some of the messaging behind it. It was really cool. I was really surprised to see, like, dudes that I mean, Chris Kyle, man, freaking Paul Howe, like, all these dudes that would support it and wear it, and, from actors to, just a regular Vietnam vet that comes in and gets stickers for his tractor, man. It's just cool for me, like, the people that have resonated, from Tom Hardy to, like I said, the guy down the road that's just, working at the gas station, man, so for me, it's cool to have seen, kind of a vision and a dream, come to fulfillment, and it's like dudes that I was like, "Man, this is so cool that these people are resonating with this message, and supporting it," and that's kinda how it grew, and I've got to meet even Pat Mack, and all these dudes that I've met over the
Mhm,
years, through starting the business and making it not just about business. It was more about, kind of building, relationships with just a good, um, formidable, group of outstanding individuals, men and women. And when I travel and if I do see somebody, like I was going through, New Mexico a few years ago, and see this cop in, civilian civies. She's wearing, we did a shirt for a guy named Aaron Torian who was killed, and helped with the schoolhouse build for him, and we did a really cool shirt for him called Hammer of God, and, I see this, lady get out of her car, and it's at a Starbucks, and she's, like, jacked, bro, in good shape. She's had her fucking pistol on, and she's wearing that shirt, and I had to pull up to her, and I'm just like, "Hey, man, it's so cool." So it's always when I see people in our stuff, I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's the kind of people I feel I resonate with and appreciate," and, it's just cool to see that, man. So that's,
mhm.
that's what's cool about, this whole thing. It's not making money, it's not just trying to push product and all this other stuff. It's really connecting with folks and maybe inspiring somebody, maybe being inspired, maybe being, enlightened to do some new things. So it's cool, man. Yeah, it's been awesome, and, yeah, so that's just kinda how that works, I guess.
How did you like, how did you come up with the idea for Rogue American Apparel? Were you sketching out designs and just thought, "Hey, I wanna get into the apparel company or, business," or, like, how did that start for you?
So, really, I mean, when I was a kid, man, I used to love going to the Army Navy surplus stores, and I would go in, to those old, Army Navy surplus stores, and they'd have these cool shirts on there, man, like Marine Corps,
Mhm.
kill them all, sort them out, or let God sort 'em, or kill them all, die, or go to hell, regroup, let God sort them out. Just stuff like that, and I was a kid, like, going to these and
Yeah.
I'd see these badass Vietnam designed shirts in these old, I'm like, with skulls and lightning bolts and tigers and cool fucking sayings and the art behind them. I was always so inspired by that. I thought it was so cool. And then I got into skateboarding when I was a kid, around the same age, and I go to the skate shops and the art behind the boards of the '80s and just, the Pal Peraltas and the Santa Cruzes and all the cool art behind those boards always resonated with me, and, all that stuff between record covers, Army, Navy surplus, skateboard shops, kinda also had a rebellious, vibe to it and an artistic vibe. They weren't just,
Mhm.
PX style type. I never wanted to be a PX style type of brand, man. I wanted to be let's have something that was a little bit more, I don't know, just something that was just a little different, and, I was able to tie all the past histories of from being a kid to my time as a Marine, to my time as a contractor, and to my time as traveling the world, from Jerusalem to all over Italy, every church, museum, anywhere I could go, I would go in and just look at this cool art from back from the Crusades and even before that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why is this like this is cool and this is beautiful pieces of art, but it's also badass. You got
Mhm.
like a winged skeleton with the Crusader cross. It's from the 10th century. Um, in a church in Rome. I'm like, "That's cool, like, that needs to be a scene," you know what I mean? So, I would take a
Yeah.
lot of that and from, the gunfighters of the Old West, from Sparta to Greece to the native, warrior culture vibe, and kinda putting them all together and mix them all together, and it resonates with guys like you, Pat, me, like, Chris Kyle, whoever, man, dudes were like,
Mhm.
were feeling it, and I try to put a story some, history behind what it was, like, here's this design and here's the significance of it, I was doing a lot of that in the beginning and showing the history of, um, the SOG teams and a lot of Vietnam history, and the old gunfighter history. Bloody Bill Anderson, guys didn't know who was Bloody Bill Anderson, he's a horrible person to some people, and to other people, he's a hero, so I was doing stuff
Mhm.
like that, and people were like, "What is this?" Um and then, yeah, dude, all of a sudden I started getting like I'm getting ready to move and I'm cleaning out stuff and I have this comic book. That was another thing. I was big into comics when I was a kid. So
Okay.
that
Yeah.
artwork and all that stuff. But as Rogue was growing and things were happening, I get a call from HBO costume director Christine Hagg, and I'm like, "Okay, what's this about?" Like, I got an email and, she's like, "Hey, we love your stuff. I do all the costume work for, a show called True Blood. It's a vampire show on HBO."
Wow.
And
Yeah.
remember that show? And I knew
Yeah.
of it, but I
Yeah.
didn't know a lot of it, and they're like, "We love your stuff. We would love to have it our members wear it in season 5." And I'm like, "What?" Like, not that that's my demographic or whatever, but the fact that they had reached out and saw
Yeah.
something and, this is a costume director. They look at everything, and they resonated with
Mhm.
Bloody Bill and all these some of the designs I was doing. I was like, "Okay, that's really cool." Um, and then I get an email from, I'll never forget because I was still working at the time. I was doing protective work. I was working for the Dell family, but on my when it was slow, if I'm standing by for 8 hours, I'm not gonna be on YouTube. I'm gonna be building my business, So, and when it was
Yeah.
slow and stuff like that, I'd be working on my stuff. And, I get an email from, a guy named Terry Jennings, hey, and I open it up, and he's like, "Hey, this is Terry Jennings, son of Waylon Jennings. I love your brand, your branding, what you're doing." I'm like, "What?" Like, I'm like, "The son of fucking Waylon Jennings, dude?" Like, a
That's
guy,
awesome, dude. Yeah.
another dude I love and love his style and everything about him, but and he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to meet and talk because we're looking to bring back this brand." I'm like, "Dude, I am nobody, man." Like, but he just like, so we started talking and I sent him some stuff, man. And then, I'm getting messages from all over the place from different folks. I'm like, this is so cool. So I knew at that point I was
Mhm.
on to something kind of that not just with dudes like us where it started, but it's kind of,
Yeah.
it's, it's vibing out to, these other people, man. Another guy named Anderson, the guy with the mohawk, he used to play for Miami Heat. He had the big mohawk. Chris Anderson, I believe his name was. They called him
Okay. Okay.
the Bird. I didn't know a lot about basketball and stuff, but um,
Yeah, I don't
when
either.
I yeah, when I get a huge order, like a huge order, I'm like, who is this? So I'm gonna pull him up and do
Yeah.
some research. And it's this basketball player in Miami Heat, whatever. And I always try to put a note in each order back in the day, especially when I could. "Thank you for your support." Right on, man. And he messages back and he's like, "Hey, I play for Miami Heat. I'm from Texas. I love whatever it is that he got. He's like, "I love that." And he ordered a bunch of them, and then he sent my kids a bunch of Miami Heat stuff, and it's like,
Wow.
anytime you're in Miami, and I'm like, "How is this happening?" How are these, but he just resonated with something, man, and so it's been, and bands too, Aaron Lewis and all these bands that would come through
Yeah,
Texas,
that's right, that's
they would
right, I
rock
forgot
our
about Aaron,
stuff.
yeah.
Man, I'm just like, "What, dude?" Like, I used to listen to Stain, bro, like, and now I'm
Yeah,
hanging out
man,
on your
hell yeah.
bus, like, just drinking
Yeah,
beer and,
yeah,
like, it's just been really cool, and not just that, but all sitting with, wounded vets and with family members of guys who've passed, and we're trying to do something with them in a positive way, and so it's utilizing the
mhm.
machine and what we've kinda built to try to do some good with it, and working with adaptive athletes and all this, and that opened up a bunch of other doors, man, and
I
it's
had
just
that
been
shirt, yeah, I had that shirt back in the day.
SAR, yeah, man, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's just been, and those, I tell anybody starting a business now or getting into be like, try to do some good along the way, not just because you feel like you have, just do something cool with what you're doing, and like good things are
mhm,
going to come back, man. And like when SAR happens, the adaptive athletes, like the Dell King who runs that foundation, he'd reached out to all the companies, bro, like all the big fucking fitness companies, but for sponsorships to get these adaptive athletes to the Arnold to compete. But
yeah.
not one return email, not one return phone call.
Wow.
Well, because,
Huh.
I think those people are looking for this beautiful athlete, this perfect athlete they want to sponsor and this, that, and the other. And when Dell messaged me and told them who they were, what they were about, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, bro." I was like, I don't
Yeah,
have a lot, man. I'm still a small business, but I'll do what I can. And
mhm,
we put out a SAR shirt and talked about what it was about. And boom, the first competition happened at the Arnold with the adaptive athletes who are from civilians, military, law enforcement. They're athletes who are missing limbs who are competing against full body CrossFit and strongman athletes. Like,
mhm,
so we go to Arnold, and of course they push us like into the far back corner of the event because it's not that popular, whatever. And the event starts, and it's just fucking cool. And as you know, the world is small, and I know a guy that's on Arnold's security detail, and I'm like, dude, you got to
oh,
bring
nice.
Arnold over here to check this out because he's gonna love it.
Yeah, yeah,
So he does. He brings Arnold over to this event, and Arnold's like has his phone out, and he's like, "Oh my god, look at this guy, no legs," and he's doing fucking burpees with his arms, man, and like doing 500-pound presses, and he's like loving it, man, and just going off, and then he like embraces the team and takes a couple of guys to dinner, and
wow,
I was like, it was fucking cool. And now, so every year we'd go
mhm,
to the Arnold, we'd have guess who comes and hangs out at our booth, like little small us in a Coleman tent, like where
yeah,
big companies like Bang and all these, they have to pay him to come and hang out.
mm,
Like to me, I was like, I grew up. Here's another dude I grew up on,
yeah,
inspired by. Here we are at this event, and he's here loving what this is all about, man. So
mhm,
it's been cool. Like those little things have been really cool from coming from just an idea, and like as starting. You sell one shirt, you sell two. You're like, oh my god, I just sold three, five, 10, 1,000. This, and it just like what, like, and then
yeah,
that's when I ended up kind of switching gears and saying, man, I was working at the time. I was doing, like I said, I was doing EP, and I worked a lot and I was gone a lot, but I was starting that on the side. I was like, if I was doing this full time, I could probably maybe make a living at this, So I
mhm.
ended up, yeah, doing that. I cut the cord and just went all in.
What was it like, as a kid, you liked comic books, and then you got to meet Venom and Bane in person at your shop? What was that like, dude? Because Tom Hardy, for those that don't know, played Bane in the Batman movie and then Venom in his own movie. Like, what was that experience like, man? That had to be awesome.
Yeah, it's just I think a lot of people, especially when they're at that type of social ladder, whatever, or how people portray them. A lot of them are just regular, cool, normal people. They just, just cool.
Mhm,
Um, but like you said, it was so for me. I was growing up, stepping back a little bit, like as me growing up as a kid, and that's why I loved all those things because those were my kind of escape, man. I didn't
Mhm.
fit in anywhere, dude. I was always labeled slow, stupid, go to the resource classes. I hated school, man. I never would go. I would go and then leave. I got kicked out in 7th or 8th grade for, stuff. And I hated school, man. I hated the system. I hated the teachers because you were always told there was something wrong with you. At least I was in the school system I grew up in. You always felt like that kid that was something was wrong, and you would get that. And I was a kid. If I'm going to class, I was the kid looking out the window, dreaming of adventure, dreaming of the lonesome dove, epic, adventure of life, man. I don't want to sit here and listen to X times Y times Z. It doesn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah.
And the teachers would be just so like mean and just I remember, like, when I was real young, and I hated talking in front of people, I hated being in front of people. I was very, shy and timid in a lot of ways. I think because of that system try to push you to
Mhm.
feel that way. Um, and I remember, like, I don't know, it was, like, 2nd, 3rd grade, something like that. I remember a teacher saying he was an asshole, just a mean, old, crusty fuck. And, it was a class, and he said, "Come up here and draw me a map, north, south, east, west." And, where's north, south, east, west, and, up front in front of the classboard on the chalkboard, whatever, which to me was like, "Oh my god, I don't," So when I got there, I was nervous, and he just like, like going I'm like so when I look back at kids and teaching, Y that's not how you do it, man. If the
Mm-mm.
kid is something is not you don't tear them down. You say, "You know what?
No.
Hey, let's look at it this way. Let's do it that way, or you're really good at this or that." So, to me, I grew up in that system that I hated all of that, man, and that's what I got into skateboarding, punk rock music, heavy metal music, outlaw country, classic rock, that's why I love music, so all that stuff was an escape, man, all that art and all the stuff that I was into. And then
Where'd you grow up at, Wes? Where are you from?
I grew up in Salt Lake, man, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, wow. No shit. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I grew up in
I
Salt
didn't know
Lake
that.
City. Yeah, man, I grew up there and just blue collar, just a regular
Mhm.
upbringing. My dad was a welder and and he got hurt when we were young and my mom had to work, she worked all the time. She worked 2 or 3 jobs. We had 5 siblings. We were on food stamps, they took our car, sharing warm
Damn.
bath water, all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
I'm just like, but those were fuel to me
Yeah.
to not ever have my kids and we'll talk about kids here in a minute. Not that my parents are bad in any other way, but I said I will never have my kids go without, man, and
Mhm.
I will, raise them and push them to be their best no matter what their weaknesses are. So yeah, man, I it all and then I find out about the beloved Marine Corps, man, like,
Yeah.
that's where guys like us end up, man, the misfits, the misfits of society, man. The
I
Marine
gotta
Corps
show you
loves
this
those
while you're
guys.
talking. This is my grandfather's K-bar from World War II.
Oh, bro, that's freaking beautiful,
Yeah, I don't know if you can
man.
see it. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and it's
Wow.
actually
From
you
your
can see on the
grandpa?
sheath that yeah, the sheath says US Navy. It's that old. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dude, that's a freaking relic. That's a gem right there, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
and he was, that blood's passed down, and here you are, his grandson.
Mhm.
It's like I think there's almost a genetic code to that as well, and I won't get into that, but so yeah, that's what I love about the Marine Corps, man. And yeah, as you know, it's a love fucking hate place, man. But
Yeah.
I,
Well, I was a Navy guy. I was a Navy guy. I
well,
had Marine Corps
that's
drill instructors in OCS, but so
same
my
shit, bro.
my
You know the culture, man.
brother was a Marine. My brother was a Marine. So yeah. But
But it's
yeah,
the
I
same culture, dude. Like, and it's when I found out about that, and I think I was in 11th grade. I watched. I
mm,
was into all the Vietnam movies, Hamburger
yeah.
Hill,
Yep.
Platoon, uh, you know, um,
Full Metal
uh,
Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket, dude. All of those,
Mhm.
man. They were so. I don't know. They're so. I was like, man, that is so cool. Even though they were scary too. They were scary, but I was like, "Man, that's what I wanna do something like that, man," and once I found about the Corps and I said, I need to have something I'm focused to working towards. I wanna do
Mhm.
that. So I was like, "Okay, I gotta get my grades up. I'm not gonna pass high school, man." So I found a teacher, well, she found me. It was in my resource class, the slow retarded kid class, and she always believed me. She was the one teacher, Miss Barney. She was always she saw something in me, man, and I don't know. And, I actually talked to her recently, but, she was always yeah, she was the reason why I graduated. She's like, "No, you're" she saw something that nobody else saw, man, and, uh, and she helped me out, dude, and anyway, long story short, I ended up doing really good by the time I had to graduate. Had to make up my credits and stuff, and, and then long story short, I ended up getting joining the Marines, and when I got there, just like the Navy, any boot camp you go to, it's a shock. It's like, okay, everything's
Mhm.
stripped from you, man. Everything is stripped away from you. There's no like, oh, I don't like this, I want to leave. Like, no, you're
Yeah.
your own,
No.
man. You know.
Yeah.
But the dudes
You're
I saw
staying.
there, yeah, man. But the dudes I saw there, man, were like the DIs and the men that were walking around. I was like, man, these guys are scary as hell, but man, they are so cool at the same time. They were all jacked. They were
Mhm.
all like
Yep.
and they had an aura about them that was so powerful. Um, it's so powerful. I've never seen that in any other anywhere. I have not ever seen that than that that level of it. Maybe in a, in the Coliseum or something, we get that feeling, but I was like, "This
Mhm.
is," and then and then all the kids, I'm like, "They're like me, man. These are misfit kids that they wanted to do something in life. They just weren't accepted by their upbringing maybe, or how, school was or whatever, and they joined the Marines, man, or or the Army, Navy, whatever."
Yeah.
But, so I felt home. Then I finally like, "Okay, Moon, I can hone my I have this thing that's inside of me." Like, I was competitive. Like, I wanted to all this stuff. I just didn't know how to contain or how to not contain it, how to, utilize that to propel my life. But the Marine Corps did that. They're like, "Okay, no, we're breaking you down to nothing, and then we'll find out what you're good at and what you're not, and push you." So, I owe a lot to the Marine Corps too, and confidence-wise. Like, after that, you say, "You know what? I can do anything, man." Like, you feel like Superman when you leave that place, even though you're not. You still
Mhm.
have we're never Superman, man. It's never gonna happen, bro. But it gives you that sense of like, okay, I can do a lot with my life, and I want to make something good with it. Um, and I want to adventure. I want to see the world, man. I want to go see. I don't want to be in Salt Lake City peaking at the highest level at my high school like all these other guys. Like, that's their peak level, and I know, as you know, a lot of those guys, fuck, dude. uh, so I've got to be blessed, man, and see the world and learn languages, and I open up my mind to be. I'm not that stupid kid that everybody told me to was. I'm in Italy going to the university, the first veteran to attend this. I'm learning all this stuff. I'm teaching stuff. I'm learning like all these things, man. The Marine Corps gave me that. Marine Corps like,
Yeah.
fuck that,
Yeah.
man. You go walk through fucking doors and own shit, man. And
Mhm.
that's what I did, and I found my power there, man, I would have never thought that as a kid. I think there's like, there's 2 people you need to be happy for you, man, when in life, and that's the 8-year-old self of yourself that can look at and say, "Yeah, that's me, man. I did those things." A
Mhm.
lot of hard shit too, and then there's the 80-year-old you that said, "I have no regrets, man. You did good."
Yeah.
And if you can find yourself daily pleasing those 2, trying to please those 2, or making them proud, then you're doing okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, that was, and then I got other Marines, and this is 2000, yeah, 2000, and I go to university because I wanted to go into the, government. I wanted to do
Okay.
agency, Secret
Mm.
Service, diplomatic security,
Yeah.
one of those. Like, and I had the experience. I'd worked all over. I had the clearance. So I was like, "Oh, it's a shoe in," but you have to have. They will not talk to you unless you 18, 11, you have to have your fucking degree. So I was like, that's so I got my
Mhm.
degree. I go back to DC and I'm hunting for jobs and this is right. And then 9/11 happens. So there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of contracting popping up and government jobs and this, that, and the other. And I was like, fuck, man, now it's a war. Like, I want to go back. Maybe I want to go back in as an officer, go back in the Marines. So
Mhm.
I started thinking about going back in as an officer, start the process. And then I find out about the contracting, Blackwater dying for $1,000 a day,
Yep.
this, that, and
Yeah.
the other.
No
And I'm
brainer.
like,
No brainer.
yeah, dude. I'm like, well, shit. But so, I went and did that. I went and did that. And, that was 2003, 2004 when we deployed. And, that was with Dying Force. So at that time
Okay.
they had Karzai's detail, they had the ambassador, Karzai's detail, all of Afghanistan contracts with the US Embassy. And then they had Haiti and Israel. Israel, Tel Aviv, some guys just had been blown up in that they got IED'd like right before that, with Dying. And then there was Haiti. So we go to the course, it's in Fredericksburg. Kroll was a company. I don't know if they're still around. Great company, Kroll. They were doing all the train up and qualifications to go on that program. So you go down there to Virginia and go through the course. And I'm like, fuck, I'm like, I don't even know if I'll even pass. Like these dudes are all like a lot of the dudes were like seasoned SF guys. Um, it was a little intimidating, man. And dudes like I'd been out for 4 or 5, 6 years, man. And but I always stayed, and that's why I think it's important, stay physically fit,
Yeah.
continue to train, can stay in that same mindset because you don't know what's going to pop up. So I go to that course and you got to do a PT test. The first thing they do is take you to the range and make sure you can qualify. And then you go through the course. But a lot of these dudes were getting dropped quick because they didn't stay, even though they had these great backgrounds, bro, they were out of shape. They hadn't continued
Yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
They were like, they were just like, yeah, I want to go do that. But they didn't keep in that mindset, dude, of their past training. So a lot of dudes were getting dropped. And I'm like, fuck, I'm doing pretty good. CQB went well with vehicle dynamics, all these things. And plus I was like, fuck, this is kind of exciting. And then during that course, the Blackwater guy got hung from the bridge in Fallujah, and they're showing us all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that dude had just been through our course like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that, and then
No
dropped for whatever
kidding.
reason, and then went to Blackwater, yeah, because they had a similar
Wow.
contract. Because yeah,
Huh.
they was in the course, they were talking about the whole thing and and they're like, "Well, fuck,
Yeah.
okay, this is the reality of it. You're gonna go over there, not a lot of support. You're gonna drive or fly into Jordan, drive to the border, meet a guy with guns, and then you're gonna drive to Baghdad and set up the Baghdad Project Embassy." Which you never want to be the
Hmm.
first guy setting some shit up, like
Hell no.
so
Hell no.
yeah, it's just like I'm like, and at the time, I was married. We were living in DC. My wife at the time worked for Defense Intelligence Agency, so she was part. She knew about the risks
Cool.
and all that. And
Yeah.
I go home after the course, and they call no before we graduated. They pull us into this room. They're like, okay, you 10 guys here, you 10 guys here, whatever. And they pull us into the room, and they're like, hey, we're sending you guys to do the Baghdad job. Because I'm thinking, fuck, I'll go to Haiti, I'll go to Israel, no problem. Baghdad, without any intel, with setting up a project, and dudes are already getting blown up as they're going over there,
Yeah.
without a lot of support. I was like, so my wife's like, fuck that, you're not going there. I was like, so I told the dude, I was like, you know what, I'm here. I'll go to Haiti, I'll go to Israel, um, or Afghanistan. Afghanistan was on the list too. And so they called me back a couple days later and it's like, hey, we got a position in Afghanistan. So I was like, all right, I'll go there. So I ended up going to Afghanistan. And then we ran the ambassadors detail. We set up all the PRTs, all the we would take all the USAID geologists into unknown territories throughout
Oh,
Afghanistan, like
wow.
up into the valleys, Panjshir Valley, Korangal, up to the Iranian border, Herat. Like we were just everywhere with you know Oh, it's a fucking Wild West, especially then, '04, man. We're
Yeah,
trading
dude.
it. We'd go to, like, save up our money and go to the Filipino liquor stores in Kabul and fill up 2 Hiluxes dude, fill up 2 Hiluxes with fucking booze, dude, and then we
Nice.
drive yeah, we drive down to, Gardez, there's a SF team down there, we drive down there, and we trade them for give them all of our booze for, RPGs, ammo, grenades, SMADs, you name it. We would just trade them straight up booze for fucking because that program, you were issued an M4, we had 240s, we had saws, uh, mm, we had the prick radios and stuff like that. We didn't have a lot of assets, so we would do a lot of bartering and trading with, and the State Department back then would just turn a head to it. They knew what we were doing, but they were just
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you guys want to go where? Okay, you want to go there? We need to have this equipment, so this is what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
And all got it was cool. It was great money, and it was hairy every time you went out. Like, something is probably going to happen. Like, so it's you're on that heightened, you're on that state of high, high rush adrenaline. Almost every day, you get up, you work out, you plan your missions, and then boom, you're on the road going to wherever. And that whole time, you're just on, bro. Um, and I think I still suffer or deal with this still today. Like, I like that. I think a lot of guys do, man. I almost want to be on that constant fucking go, man. But you can't be. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
impossible. And at certain times, you just have to find times to unwind from that, and find other ways where to put that energy, or not even put the energy there, just to try to embrace being in a peaceful moment. I don't
It's
know why I
hard,
went on
man.
that
It's hard to,
tangent, but
like, to turn that dial. Yeah, it's hard.
it's really hard until, and you don't
Um
know it until you admit to it and say, "Okay," and that's okay. That's
Mhm.
okay. Guys like us, look at the Marine Corps, bro. What's the or the in military boot camp? How do they wake you up? They wake you up bang with chaos, banging fucking garbage cans, scaring the shit. Like, we're supposed to wake up and be like, "Oh, let me say my gratitude prayers, meditation."
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't doing that shit out there, bro.
Yeah. No.
So,
Yeah.
and that's how we're supposed to wake. We're supposed to wake up like in a peace. But then again, look at our ancestors. They had to get up and get fucking moving, man, because fucking Sabretooth's coming,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Or there's so
Yeah.
it's one of those dichotomies. I think you could talk to the uh, the Peter Jordisons of the world, or this, that, and the other, but unless you've been and lived in those environments, man, it's hard to break that down in a psychiatric type of way, you know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
it's a hard one unless you understand, but so that's why you have to force yourself as an individual or as a group with other dudes to say, "Hey, how do we deal with this? Okay, let's talk about prayer. Let's talk about how Jesus came to teach us the ways of the internal light within and how to embrace that. Let's talk about that. Let's put our energy there." And let's put it into our children and say, "You know what? I'm no longer." I mean, I think we're always very important. Like, you're important. Without you, your daughter is not going to eat. She's not going to be protected as much. She's not going to she's not gonna be loved as much. Like, you're important, like, every dude is so important, and I think a lo I know, as you know, guys that take their lives, who have these beautiful families and children, and they feel there's nothing else and no other purpose. You have a purpose. Your purpose now is you are you're the one in charge of making sure your people are taken care of. So that in itself is a daily reminder to say, "No, I have purpose." Like, I fight with it too. I'm like, purpose to me isn't making money and like how are our cells doing? It's not, bro. Like, okay, I need to do those things because I'll also need to run a business, but it doesn't fulfill
Yeah.
my purpose side of I'm not really I'm not protecting somebody. I'm not like I we need to be uh, helping others, man. And that
Mhm.
gives us a sense of purpose. So being a father is a huge sense of purpose. Just driving them to school, driving them to like, okay, you are the agent in charge. You are the one. I have all of your
Mhm.
girlfriends with me. Your friends I'm letting their parents know, hey, good to go. Just got here. They're all good to go.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be communicating, and then when they're with me in my I'm taking them to dinner or games or, whatever, they're in the car. 2 hands are on the wheel, I'm paying attention. I'm running this as if I'm being a professional, agent in charge of their safety, so
Mhm.
I'll look at it that way versus just I'm just here to transport. I'm not just here to transport, I'm here to also make sure that they arrive safe and they're protected if
Yeah.
anything goes down. So that's my little own mind games to deal with the purpose in ways to say, every little thing we do has a meaning to it and has a purpose to it. So be cautious on how you spend that time. Um, but yeah, man, I think you understand or you would
Well,
get it
and
just from
I
what
wanna
I've
say
seen of your
this.
stuff.
Yeah, and I wanna say this too, man, like, I think one of the things that is really cool about your company and the stuff you put out is that you involve your daughter a lot, and it shows that human side of a man that has served his country, worked as a contractor, been in harm's way, but you implement kinda that fatherly, model, that masculine model because, dude, we're at a war right now against the world about what guys are supposed to be, and the world wants us to be doughy, fat pieces of shit that can't do anything, and it's cool to see you online with your daughter. Like, you had a video, I think it was last week. She was driving, and, like, you were hanging out of the sunroof with, like, a long gun or something. It was cool, man. It's
Mhm.
just neat to see that because let's be honest, man, the world's not gonna show us that stuff, you know? That's toxic. It's
That's
like
it's you're the same way. I could tell is your lifestyle and a lot of the dudes that I try to stay associated with are the same way, man. They're freaking meat eaters, bro. But
yeah.
this society and social media, especially and media in general, watch any commercial on TV, it makes the man soft and this is not, I'm not just saying this shit. Watch commercials. If there's a couple in a commercial that's there's a car involved or they're going to a gas station or something, the woman is usually fucking driving. The woman is usually doing the stuff and running the show, which okay, great.
Yep.
But that's programming, man. And they're
Mhm.
they're showing this really I saw one the other day. This dude looks so fucking pathetic. And it was something to do with families and their car or something. The woman's running the shit, which okay, whatever. The dude the the dude's a fucking jellyfish, I get it, but, like,
He's a
that's
jellyfish.
the no spine, dude, there's no spine, he's just,
Yeah.
like, there, and to me, that's toxic, you're a toxic masculine man being
Hell
that way.
yeah.
That's just toxic, because what's gonna happen when shit goes down, that dude is not gonna do anything, he is not. But I think that I'm all about a woman could be strong as she wants, I'm all about it,
Yeah,
man.
totally.
Hell yeah, right on. But without men, without men that can are capable of doing physical harm and in the case of an extreme violent situation of evil, that man is being toxic by not being able mentally, physically, spiritually to do something about it. And
Mhm.
and I'm not saying if you have physical limitations because you whatever, I get it, but you can say something, you have a voice. And nowadays people are afraid to say something. They'll say it on here, but they won't say it out on the
Yeah.
street unless they got their phone
No,
out
they won't.
to try to do something to
Right.
say something for attention. And there was a flood here
Yeah.
in Austin a few days ago, a lot of rain, and I saw this video. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a video about it too. But this dude is down here at the lake here in Austin, and he's got a baby, like a 2 or 3-year-old, and the water's rushing down. I mean, it's flooding down in Barton Creek, and he's off to the side, and he's trying to be like fun dad, putting the baby in the water and lifting him up, while
Oh, man.
these currents are rushing by, and this kid's like a little rag doll, and the dad thinks he's being cool, and the kid could be drifted off at any second. Like that to me,
Yeah.
that's a you're a fucking piece of shit. And then here's all
Yeah,
these
that's not
people
good.
around him. Yeah, man, but there's all these people around him, and there's somebody across the river filming this. It's showing this, and zooming in. I'm like, you can pull your phone out, and here's all the comments. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Did you say one thing to stop that motherfucker or doing it? Did anybody?
Right.
No. But
Right.
they'll pull the phone out and say, look at this. She could have been like, hey, what the fuck are you doing with that kid? And
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
would have been like,
stop.
oh shit. You know what I mean? Like to
Mhm.
me, like we need to
Yep.
say something and do something. Um,
Be
there's
courageous.
so much. Be courageous, man. It's not. I found a girl with her leg ripped off down the road a couple years ago. She was in a car
I
accident, flew
remember
out the
that.
back.
I remember that.
Yeah, bro. Dude flew out the back of a Durango. Her leg was gone. It was just fucking bone and some
Oof.
tissue, and and by the time I got down there, she was going into shock and gonna bleed out.
Yeah.
And there's all these cars, bro, and people, and nobody. They're just fucking standing there. Well, actually, one dude brought a blanket over, but I was like, there's two other cars and two other people are fucked up too. She was the worst, but nobody was really doing anything. Not s and I think people are just they wanna be kind of bystanders, and they don't wanna involve themselves because it's hard, it's scary, and you don't and even if you don't have the training, you could still do something, so just do
Yeah.
something. If you see something that's wrong, do something about it. There's nothing, so I think most guys that I know, guys like yourself, guys that I know those dudes are gonna do something, man. I just know it. And other people will look at them as that's toxic. That dude works out. He uh he's
Mhm.
so selfish and so self-absorbed because he wants to provide a good life for him and his family, and
Yeah.
oh, look, he wants to put muscles on and have tattoos. He must be talk. I'm like, that dude would save that fucking church from burning down.
Hell yeah. Hell
Like,
yeah, he would. Hell yeah, he would. Yeah. Well, man, I wanna ask you because I haven't brought this up yet on this platform, and you're kinda navigating in this area, and you're speaking my language. Let's talk about the single dads for a minute, like the divorced dads that don't have a wife or a girlfriend or a spouse to help them. There's a movie out right
yeah,
now, a blockbuster Hollywood movie called The Breadwinner, and it stars this clean what's the right word? He doesn't cuss comedian, right? I think it's Nate Bargatze or something. And I live near Nashville, and I think the dude's from Nashville, so everybody here loves him. They think it's great. It's the Homer Simpson model. He's portraying us men as worthless and incapable of doing simple tasks like driving our kids to school because he doesn't know where the school is. And I just saw the preview in the theater with my son a couple weeks ago. And basically, what he's doing is he's painting this picture that men are just we're just worthless. We're incapable of doing basic stuff. And as a single dad raising an almost 8-year-old son, and I take that as a slap in the face, and I think it's bullshit, dude. And I really it really bothers me that that guy is given this platform. He's making all this money, and I get it's entertainment, but I feel like the men that are busting their ass to be there for their kids that don't see their kids every day because of a divorce, but they're still showing up. They're putting in the work. They're being present for their kids. I just feel like it's kind of a slap in the face to us, man. Do you have any thoughts on that?
yeah, man. It is so like the divorce thing, like it's so me, like my personal thing with that, like I never saw that coming. I was like, you get married, you're gonna have the house, the kids, the white fence, and you're gonna work and try to provide and for whatever reason, after a year, I was married for 15, 16 years. And in the end it didn't work out, and I can say this to anybody that might be even going through that. It is extremely um it is an extremely hard thing to have to go through. I'm talking about even after. So when you're going through that
Mhm,
process, it is very emotionally, physically, financially, all the things. It's gonna take a toll on you for sure.
mhm.
The part of feeling, not being there. My hardest part for me was like, what if something happens at their home and I'm not there? Like I was like always thinking that like I need to be, Anyway, eventually, once you go through that process, and it'll stay with you. It's so for me, like for instance, going back to the purpose part, like I'm a family person. I love the family dynamic. I think it's a very, going out with your family, whatever. Like, and I used to see the single dude at the restaurant or at the whatever, and it's like it's kind of sad, man. Like it is and it isn't. But I evaluate everything when I go somewhere. I try to read shit and now I find, like, I don't like to go out, like, to a restaurant by myself or something, and I see a family there. I feel it pulls at your
It's
heartstrings,
hard.
man.
It
It's
does. It
hard,
does.
man, you were the guy getting in the car, driving them home, and paying the bill, and all the things, and when that's gone, like it's hard. At least it was for me. I don't know about every dude, but um, it, unless you're just not into the whole family thing. But I think family is a beautiful and wonderful thing. And when you go through that process of it not working out, it'll stick with you for years later. Even as of now, like so. Um, Anybody that is going through that, it's you have to. They say and I see all the jokes too, the divorced dad music and this and the other, or the divorced dad kitchen or refrigerator, and his guy's got like 2 beers in there, pizza boxes. His house is a mess. He's got clothing over there. That ain't everybody that's going through divorce, and it doesn't have to be you either. That's easy to go to, but you have to continue. You have to raise yourself up and say, I need to be even better as a man and do better for myself, so I can continue to be good for my children, and not just because a lot of dudes will go through that and they'll drift away, man. They'll drift
Yeah,
away from their
yeah.
kids, and they lose because it sucks, man. And a lot of guys, I'm sure,
Mhm,
feel like it's not a nice feeling, and you feel like a
mm-mm.
failure sometimes too, because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I could have done this or that." Because if you got a sense of, emotion, I guess. Um, Other people are extremely happy. I don't know what if they were with a horrible person and they're just so fucking glad to be out of that situation, but that's not every case with the divorce. Sometimes the marriages didn't work out. They
No.
just weren't meant to be. So, and then when you got kids involved, the last thing you wanna do is hurt them in any way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
those were always hard for me, but I'd always say talk positive about their mother. Try to be a better,
Mhm.
example. Um, and that's why I have my daughter involved with a lot of stuff, and or her friends even. If I have her friends with me, I'll try to give them little life lessons, and I'll try to talk to them that I know that I don't think their dads are telling 'em,
Yeah.
about how important they are as a person, how important their body is, how important they are as a human being, and not just to give that away to anybody and everybody, how special that they are. And to be cautious when they're out and about, of course, with their phones and driving their vehicles and all these things, especially as
Mhm.
the young, like females they have to live in a different world than you and I. They everywhere they go, they're
Yeah.
fucking predators out there. I don't go to a gas
Yep.
station. I'll go to a gas station to see a young teenage girl, some or mom who pumping gas, and I'll scan the fucking parking lot. I'll find 2 or 3 dudes just sitting there, like looking at them, looking weird shit. I'm like, one of them might be a fucking predator, and probably are. I don't know. But they have to live with that. You and I don't. I don't dude wants to fucking look at me. I don't know, maybe he's gay. I don't know. I'm not worried about him. You know? Yeah. Uh, but I don't have to worry that he's gonna come over. I
Yeah.
don't gotta worry that he's gonna come over and try to fucking kidnap me, you know?
Yeah.
But they have to live with
Dude,
that.
I almost
That's the nature
yeah,
of
yeah, they do, and I
so
think, like, for me, though, there's a lot of good men out there that are trying to do the right thing, but they feel like they don't have a voice, you know? They don't feel like they're getting the encouragement or the support because divorce is so glamorized nowadays, and it's kind of put on the mom. She's the one that's gonna take care of everything, and then the dad is just kinda like you were saying, has 2 beers in the fridge and empty pizza box, and,
yeah.
I think it's cool to see what you're doing, man, because it shows you can still be a capable man and still be a parent, and you don't have to have the wife in the picture. Not saying I'm with you. I think the family dynamic is better and it's hard when you don't have it, but men are still fully capable to be able to raise children without having, maybe that whole family unit like we were taught growing up, you know?
Yes, yeah, and I think a lot of people stay in those dynamics because they feel that they have to or they need that person. I felt that way too. Like my wife took care of a lot of dude. I worked and provided and made money and like made sure they had what they need to have.
Mhm.
I'm not doing taxes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing all the admin shit back at home. That is a lot of stuff, man. You got to schedule a maintenance guy to come out and fix your AC and all this. Like when you have that dynamic, um you a lot of men give that they have to. You share responsibilities. She's taking care of the home, making sure that I'm not going to Costco. I go to Costco, I have an anxiety attack. Like but if you have, like, in my opinion, like those are nice things to have. And when those are gone, you don't have to just say, "Well, fuck, I'm not going to Costco. I'm going to order pizzas." You can I'll say, "You know what? I need to step my ass
Yeah.
up, go down to the grocery store, get me some fruits and vegetables and meat, and continue. I can do this. Fuck, I got to do
Mhm.
taxes this year because she did the tax stuff. I got to figure that out. It's more on your plate, but I think you need to be a good example and not show. I never want my kids to see me. Trust me, I've had fucking times, bro. I've fucking hit underground. Um, and I never ever would want my kids to ever see me that way. When you get to those stages, you have to say, I have to almost act like they're here right now. So I got to pull myself up, and I got to be strong. And I actually I had a breakdown with my daughter, and dude, it was I'll have to send you the video. It's a video of Stallone and, with remember his, brother-in-law, that would punch the meat, the actor, Paulie. Remember Paulie? Paulie, his, brother-in-law, right? And,
Mhm.
Rocky's talking about something that he's talking about, and it's really emotional. I don't know, and I was like, I don't know, that one, I felt that one. And, just at that moment, like, my daughter calls me. And, and I was having a time, man, and she's like, she "No, dad, you're strong. I'll come up there I'll come right now." I said, "No, we're good." Like, I was just in that
Hmm.
moment that she called me, and I was like, I'm not gonna hang up the phone. I'm not gonna pretend, that it's not alright at this very moment." And she was my backbone. She was
Wow.
which is not her responsibility. That is not her job. But what she said to me fueled me again, man. Like, so I think our kids can also inspire us and can also help us. And I see all these man pages, the fucking Dana White, like mental health aware, like these guys are weak and they need to fuck that and fuck all, you need to be a man. Like, okay, dude, I'll go toe to toe with Taliban all fucking day, bro. I'll do whatever. But you know what?
Yep.
There's times, man, when life can be hard, especially when you've lived different dynamics that can come to you and try
Mhm.
to haunt you and try to make you and they that's okay, man. We're human beings, dude. Like, we're not always supposed to be
Yeah.
at this
We're
masculine
not robots.
fucking, yeah, I'm the baddest motherfucker every 10 seconds. And every dude has a time, man, and you don't know what's going on in somebody's brain housing group. I don't know, man. But it's
Yep.
okay to not be okay, man, all the time. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so but we have to give ourselves the tools every morning. That's what we have to train. We have to work out. We have to read the right books. We have to pray.
Mhm.
We have to follow the ways of what Jesus did. Um, and those are little things help us stay in that I don't say optimal bullshit tone voice shit. It helps us stay um aligned with why we are here, and if you're not doing the right
Gives us
things, if you're
purpose. Yeah.
it gives you purpose, man. And why the hell do you
Yeah.
think you feel like shit or want to do when you're drinking, doing drugs,
Mhm.
and you're feeding yourself, you're eating bad, you're feeding yourself toxic things, and now you're thinking about bad things from the past or whatever.
Mhm.
You're gonna go down that road, and you're it's not gonna be a good one. So you gotta
No.
like that old
Mm-mm.
saying, turn your what is it? Turn your pain into your purpose or whatever.
Yeah, turn your pain into purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's like, and you can do that. You can flip that. It's not easy, but you
Mhm.
say, instead of this, I'm gonna go the other way. Um, so and I think a lot of guys that in these dynamics fight with that, and it's okay. And that's why
Yeah.
you also have to stay connected with other dudes. And hey, maybe we'll
You
start a
do. Yep.
you and I can start a divorced dads podcast.
We
All the
we
pizza
should,
eating, dinner
dude.
drinking,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
no, but there's
Yeah.
there's a
We
lot of
should.
dudes. I know a lot of dudes in the same fucking boat, man. And it's a good friend of
Mhm.
mine. He a Navy SEAL. He owns a restaurant here down the road, and he struggles. He comes and we work out. We talk about the same shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know exactly what you're
Mm.
saying, man. But it's like it's good. And once you talk to each other, okay, cool, man. It's you can help each other out and feel that you're not the
Yeah.
only one. You're not the only one that's
Mhm.
thinking this way or going through this. And then, we gotta, to lift each other. I think that's why community is important, and I
Very
suffer with that.
important.
I am a
Very
very
important.
I can be very isolated individual. I can go without seeing people for 30 days. I can, like, not go anywhere, but, it's not good
Mhm.
for you, and once you get out and you're being around people or doing podcasts and connecting with folks, it brings goodness, man, I feel,
Yeah,
um,
it does,
and
and
it's
you
important.
do need a community for sure. It is, yeah, and it is very important. I think the good thing about it too, man, is that like men like yourself that are open and courageous about your own story, it encourages those other guys that feel like, oh, it's just me this is happening to, and so they can kind of relate and bond. And the cool thing about having this podcast is I've met so many just great people that I can relate to more so than people I know in person. I tried to find a men's group in person to get through my divorce, to get sober, and I have actually built stronger bonds through a platform, talking to people, which I wish it was in person, but I'm not to that stage yet. But yeah, being here, it's therapeutic for me, man, just to be able to talk to different people and to hear their story, to hear their wisdom and get more knowledge from them. It's been really, really helpful for me as an individual.
No, yeah, I think you said it right there, and it's, because I'm the same way. I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna go. I should. To a group clinic thing with this is easier for me. I can connect with people on these
Mhm.
platforms, and then
Yeah.
from there you can develop. Okay, I really like this group right here. We're all dialed in on the same shit. Then you could start, doing that other.
Mhm.
You could. Hey, let's all get together and go do X, Y, or Z, and then you can build that up. I think it's very important. It's very powerful, um, and
Mhm.
we need to do that. There is no lone wolf guy. There is no. You don't want to be the fucking all
Mhm.
that shit, man. It's I've done that too. Like, fuck, I don't need anybody. Fuck everybody. I'll do my own shit. Blah blah blah. Ego, pride, all these things. Um, it's like a ship, man. You can't, you're not gonna have a ship out there with one fucking one dude, man. You need to have rowers. You need to have people
Mhm.
doing maintenance. You need to have land navigation. Just like any team, you need to have a team, and that's what men are. I think, especially American men in general. Well, just history of men is incredible. What feats, what they've done, what they've conquered, what they've built, like, is it's almost too much to even people say, "Oh, aliens did it, and the aliens did this and that." Fuck that. Men built that shit, man. With with will and like, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude, but I've seen men do stuff that right? I mean, I don't know, and we'll figure that
That's
out when we
awesome.
all, end up in the sky again, but
Yeah.
as we're here, like, I see
Right.
even when I, like, look at blue collar construction, I watch dudes, like, building dams and shit, I'm like, or doing, engineering, I'm like, "Fuck, that dude's badass, dude," like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so fucking cool to me that the things that men can do is so impressive. So we can learn a lot. There's constant learning that we can learn from one another in so many different topics. It could be literature, poetry, music, or fucking jackhammering, or fucking shooting an arrow, man. How fucking cool is that,
Yeah.
dude? Like, so we need to continue doing these things. Even as I'm 51. Um, I still feel good. I still feel like I done a lot of
You don't
shit I
look
wanna do,
51,
and
man.
shit. Well,
Yeah.
so, I mean, my joints, I feel like it and stuff, but overall, I'm just as far as life goes, when I was when we were young guys and you would come your dads that were, like, in their 50s and above, dude, they're on the couch, like, drinking a Budweiser, watching the fucking whatever with a belly, like, kinda they're most of them, I think, were fucking depressed, and their tests,
Yeah.
their test levels were who knows what, and, uh, but now dudes, things have changed. A lot of dudes are, man, to me, my best period, and I've worked out my entire life. I've always tried to live. But my 40s, all I was my strongest, bro. I was like 40s is like fuck, man. I remember Pat telling me that. He's like, you don't peak until you're like
Yeah.
45,
Yeah.
46. And at the time I was like 40, 41. And
Mm,
he was right. I got through, and I had my biggest fucking gains of strength and overcoming things. And then in your 50s, you kind of realize, okay, what's truly important in life? What is not important? What did I
mhm,
used to worry about that doesn't mean anything? And you start to kind of figure out who you are really at around this time. And at least for me, at 30s, you
mhm,
think you know everything. In your 20s, you think you, in your 40s, you don't, you know, I think it's continual. Like we can go all the way up till however, and we're still babies, man. 100-year-old person is still a
mhm.
baby, dude. There's so much in this universe and world that we don't know, so we just have
Yeah.
to keep learning, keep trying to inspire and be inspired and be open minded to trying new things, man. Like get out of your box, get out of your comfort zone. We all
Mhm,
love it. I know. I love my fucking. I know. Here's my program. Here's what I do. Here's we get very
mhm.
comfortable, but once you're pushed out of that or break out of that, or like I'm getting ready to move. I've been here 10 years. I got a whole new fucking. I don't know where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do, all, but I will fucking figure it out, and it'll be even something even bigger and better. But you have to go through those transitional periods and and know that during the time it's hard and it seems like a huge even packing. Fuck, I don't want to pack. Oh man, that's gonna take. But as you do it, it's you
Mhm.
start getting, okay, it's not that big of a deal, and then you go into your next thing. So constantly learning and being pushed out of your comfort zone. That's I did a film too. I did a film with Warhorse One with Johnny Strong, man.
I was gonna ask you
Like
about
which
that. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about
uh,
that.
to me it was like it's not even it pushed me into such a Johnny pushed me into such a different state of my own mental awareness and mind and creativity and all these things that it's cool, man. It is so cool. And it's just being around really super creative people and saying, you know what, this is not that. It's not rocket science, man. Just here's learn your lines and try to pull off whatever the part may be. But that to me was fun and it was an escape from a lot of things. It's almost like shooting or going to the range, like you're just or doing jujitsu or whatever. You're just in that moment, bro. Like you're just so
Mhm,
when you're doing that, you're not, oh fuck, I got bills to pay, I got payroll coming up, I got taxes. You're just like, no, I'm gonna be this dude for this time and just let that stuff go. And it's cool, it's fun. And then you meet other really cool, creative people that are like, wow, man, this is a whole different world, man. This is kind of cool. And and then you grow from that in some way. You're gonna grow from that. Man, I did that. I was able to do that thing I never thought. And and it could be anything that you're learning new in life, a new hobby, and learning an instrument. I think it's important that we stay in a creative, artistic way in some way. Music, art, creating something, not AI shit so much, but creating something that you, even if you're not that good at it, to just do it, man. It's so you know, go to a museum, go look at some art, man. I don't and think about it and look at it, see what's going on here.
and there's another one coming up. I'm gonna read a Bible verse real quick, and then I'm gonna pray us out, man, and then, yeah, we're gonna talk offline a little bit though too. Um, I've got First Corinthians chapter 16, verses 13 through 14. This kind of ties into stand for something. So it kind of correlates to that. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, let all you do be done in love. And I think that really encompasses masculinity, taking care, being a protector, but also being loving, kind, and gentle when it comes to parenting, when it comes to dealing with people, unless you have to turn it on and be that, that badass like we were trained to be. And I love your message, Wes. And I want to tell you this before we disconnect. You're the same guy talking to me today that I've seen across all these years online, man. And you're one of the real ones because in this world, there's some snakes out there, man, and you're definitely a good man. And I really appreciate your time today, bro.